morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, May the 27th, and you're watching KLDCS TV News. And I have to say, it is hot out. That's so much better. Today is National Sunscreen Day, a day when we remind ourselves of how important it is to keep our skin from being burnt from certain types of solar radiation. Ultraviolet radiation is not visible to humans, but it is there and can severely damage your skin. Sunburns are not only uncomfortable, but they can also increase your chances of developing skin cancer in the future. So it's better to not get burnt. So if you're out in the strong sun, consider wearing some hats with longer brims to protect from these harmful UV rays. So if you like sun hats, you can wear a sun hat like this, or if you prefer a ball cap, that works too. If it's not too hot, but there's still a lot of sun, you might want to consider wearing a nice light long sleeve t-shirt. But of course, if there is still some exposed skin, make sure to put on a vigorous amount of sunscreen. Happy Sunscreen Day, everyone. Whew. That's good.
We don't need sunscreen if you're tanning in the rain.
Oh yeah, we should try this at night.
Cool.
Now we are going to catch up with Shaylin Pratt, who has had the chance to interview Logan Tullus. Logan Tullus is the public health nurse for our schools and our district and has offered to answer our health-related questions on the show.
Hey guys, it's Shaylin, and recently I had the opportunity of speaking with Logan, who is a nurse in our area, and I got to ask him some questions concerning COVID-19 in our area. So let's see what Logan has to say.
So how high are the risks of getting COVID-19 when visiting a store?
The grocery store, it's more of a risk to get it from somebody else rather than from actual like food products, like whether it's produce or boxes or things like that. Like, for example, cardboard, the risk of getting the virus being on cardboard is roughly a 24-hour period. If it's plastic or stainless steel, it's up to 3 to 4 days the virus can live on it. So, I mean, the good thing is the staff, like at the grocery stores and like pharmacies and things like that, are cleaning those surfaces quite regularly, which is great. And people are washing their hands. The main thing as a person going into the store, if you're washing your hands before you go in and when you leave, that's by far the safest thing to protect you across the board from like anything. Mm-hmm. The only concern, is really the fact that like in grocery stores, if people are not sort of following the lines as they should on the ground and they're kind of coming into close contact and they're having close conversations, that's the biggest concern. The masks are kind of a controversial thing, but like wearing a mask at a grocery store, I have no objection to, because it's easier to protect others that way, especially if you're not feeling very well at the time. But the risk in a grocery store is very minimal, because these, when you're walking past somebody, the risk of that actually kind of leading to the virus passing on is basically non-existent at that point. And I would just recommend, if you're handling food products and you bring them home, just wash them like you would normally under cold water and things like that. There's nothing really beyond that other than just going into the grocery store, wash your hands before you enter and before you start handling food, and then wash them on the way out. The one thing I just emphasize endlessly is people seem to sometimes forget that they touch their face and they touch their nose and their mouth and everything else when they're in the store, and then they touch an item. That's one thing to watch out for very much. So I always tell them, keep sanitizer. If you accidentally do end up touching your face, wash your hands first before you start touching anything else, and don't pick up anything that you don't intend on buying.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shaylin, and thank you, Logan. It's always nice to have members of the community on the show and to have some new tips and tricks to protect ourselves against coronavirus. Now it's time for a new news segment that we call Murph's Morning Funnies.
What kind of haircuts do bees get?
I don't know. What kind of haircuts do bees get?
A buzz cut.
Thanks, Murph. You made me chuckle. Today we have a very special interview with this year's 2019-2020 Rotary Exchange student. This means that she's from Kirkland Lake, but now she's in a different country. I know that a lot of you have been wondering how she's doing. Here is the interview with Desi Hume.
Hi Desi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So Desi is our exchange student, and she is currently living in
Sicily, Italy.
Woo! So I'm gonna ask you a few questions. So right now, as I've heard, Italy is slowly getting out of quarantine. Life is slowly going back to normal, but I'm sure me and a lot of other people want to know what it's been like living in quarantine for around 2 months of your exchange.
Okay, so luckily for me, I'm not on mainland Italy. So it didn't hit me as strong as the mainland and in the north because I'm way at the south.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of stopped the borders, like nobody comes in, nobody can leave. So we didn't get hit as hard, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But we still got a crazy quarantine.
Yeah.
So I was in quarantine. I've been in quarantine since March 5th, I think. So I've been starting to go out a little bit now with my host sister, and like I can go get groceries or go for a bike ride. But like 2 weeks ago, like that was impossible.
Yeah.
You had to stay inside, and the only time you could really go outside for like no reason was to like maybe walk your dog.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be it. You couldn't go out for like runs, and you couldn't really do anything. And if they caught you, the police would stop you and you'd get a fine.
How much was
a big enough fine.
Oh, okay. Do you feel like you've missed out on a big part of your exchange, or do you look at it like you've lived a unique enough experience?
I would say if I could stop the virus from happening, I would have liked that more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the quarantine made me closer to my host family, and I focused on myself and focused on problems that I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good and bad, but I did miss out on things I would have wanted to do. Missed out on saying goodbye to my friends that left, and meetings we could have had, and just my friends' birthdays and things like that. So I did miss out on things.
Yeah. So do you have any messages for us at home who are still, for the most part, in quarantine, since you lived in Italy during this?
So my biggest recommendation and my biggest message to everybody, the people that are listening, is just stay home. It's really not worth it. I've dealt with the hardest quarantine I probably could have had in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just, take it seriously. Even if the government is saying, okay, you can go out and do that, I would personally say just don't do that. It's really not worth it, because it's going to spike again, and we're going to have another big outbreak. And okay, it's fun right now to go out with your friends, but it's not going to be fun when the quarantine is 5 months long with hard, you know what I mean? So just stay home. That's my biggest message, is stay home and admit to defeat, because you should be at home.
Yeah.
Don't fight your your opinions. Don't fight the government. Just stay home.
Yeah.
Just stay home.
Not worth it to take the risk.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Desi, for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
So have a good day, and I will see you in a couple months.
When I get back.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Thanks, Desi, for participating in the interview. I wish you the best of luck for the end of your exchange. And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the check-in. Today we are checking in with Mrs. Cairns.
Hey everyone, Miss Cairns here. I hope you're all doing well. I miss seeing your smiling faces around the hall. If you find that you're struggling with remote learning, why not check out my YouTube channel that is in the links in the description below. Some of the videos that I've been creating would help you with your assistive technology, such as how to use text-to-speech for your iPad to read to you, or how to use Apple Dictation, which is like speech-to-text, where you can have your thoughts put down on your iPad without actually having to type. The other thing that I want to mention is how important it is for you to have something to do for you to de-stress and unwind. Now that the nicer weather is here, make sure you get outside and soak up some sun. That's the first thing that I do as soon as I'm done work, is get outside, spend time in the yard, go fishing, hang out with my kids, or be out on the trails. I'm gonna finish up my ride now. Miss you all.
Thanks, Mrs. Cairns. I hope you had a fun ride. Also, remember, check out Mrs. Cairns' YouTube channel in the description below. That brings us to the end of our show. Make sure to wear plenty of sunscreen, stay safe, and we'll see you Friday morning. Smells good. This is Molly McCormick signing off.